Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to week 7 of the greatest game show in RuneScape. We had a fun week here, an interesting challenge and banning. I'm going to talk about what I can because I unfortunately have very little time today to make this review. I've got a bunch of other stuff I'm working on, but I'm going to try my best to talk about everything that happened. Okay, so last episode, our man Solo Mission went home in a banning versus Bodhi. This basically makes Bodhi the most feared competitor in the game right now. Bodhi does have a sabotage for this week, and I was a little afraid, but he decided to do something very interesting. Wanting to seem neutral and not make anyone upset, he decides to have Soup roll a random number and pick the sabotage for him so he can blame it on RNG and not make any enemies. It lands on Roydy, so that's a great random sabotage. I'm sure he's very happy with that. The challenge this week was Dressed Out. Soup says a random equipment slot, and you have to find an item to fill that slot as fast as possible because the last person back gets eliminated every round. You can't use the same shop twice. 2 common shops were banned. No diary items allowed. Seems very much in my wheelhouse. I was very confident here. Roydy got sabotaged, so he loses 5 seconds off the bat on every single item. So he's someone that you want to have in the challenge as long as possible, basically. You're always going to have a 5-second head start on the guy. So I had a really good strategy for this challenge. I pretty much had super fast items for every single slot except for boots and legs. For the boots, I blanked. I got to Lumbridge so late, but I managed to find a pair of boots in the basement that everyone skipped over near the ladder. And for the legs, I had a plan, but I went to a shop that was completely bought out. It was Horvik, so it was a super popular shop, and I had no backup planned. And for this challenge, there really was no time to plan everywhere you want to go and have a backup for each possible item Soup can call out. Like, that's just not going to happen. So there was a lot of thinking on your feet. You need to be able to adapt quickly. And for the legs, I had to choose whether to wait for the respawn next to Roydy and take a coin flip that one of us will buy it out once it resupplies, or go somewhere else. So I decided to risk it on Louis' leg shop in Al Kharid. I made it back with like 7 seconds left to spare. And then we have the shield round. Everyone had the exact same idea, which is the Falador shield shop. I mean, even if you do have other unique ideas for a shield, everyone basically knew that this was the fastest way to get a shield. I had the worst teleport into the area. I know one of these 3 people in front of me is gonna try to buy out the entire shop, and I know only 4 shields are stocked in this shop from left to right. So I try to pre-aim where I think the 4th shield will be to hopefully get it before it gets bought out by the people ahead of me, and I managed to grab one. But this is the one that I had a backup plan for, actually. If Bodhi had bought out all the stock and I didn't get a shield here, my backup plan was to get the training shield in Lumbridge from the melee combat tutor. So really cool challenge though. Back at the tribunal this week. It feels great. It feels like I need to win or I'm going in a banning. So thank God I make it in the tribunal. Unfortunately though, Bodhi also wins, which sucks because I want him in the banning. He's insanely dangerous, but since he's safe, I have to look at some other choices. And for me, that's one of the farmers. Now, one of the first names I talk about is Roydy because he was supposed to be in the banning during week 4, but Solo Mission saved him via burn vote, so he never went in. I mean, I guess thanks to that burn vote, the farmers never really found out I was gunning for them, but it's time to let the cards show a bit. I wanted to try and get him out. I also floated Torvesta's name in the banning call. And that's because he's been a floater for so long. Him and V the Victim have been floating so far, and it's working really well for them. But ultimately, the farmers are still the big, strong 3. I don't want Roydy in a final, so let's send him in. And Bodhi and Hootie are both on board, so Roydy goes into the banning today, and he picks Zoe Pancakes, who has also been floating by up till this point. And honestly, she lands one of the best bannings she could here. This is genuinely really bad news for Roydy because he has her beat in mechanics on every side of the game here. But this is a banning that she could genuinely win against him. And the banning this week is Tile Man. When I heard Soup announce this, I was shocked, dude. I'm like, damn, I should have lost the challenge today. This would have been the perfect banning for me. No chance I lose this, I don't think, to anyone. Complete 5 tasks using the least amount of tiles possible. So Roydy versus Zoe Pancakes. This challenge is actually pretty chill because you have as much time as you want. Now, I'm sure Soup wouldn't let them go all day, to be fair, but there wasn't a strict time limit. I feel like they probably could have gone for like an hour, maybe a bit longer. And in that case, there is some tech that Roydy and Zoe could have used during this banning to save a ton of tiles. I think just off normal pathing changes and being more patient with some NPCs, they each could have saved about 20 tiles, up to like 22 if you have super obscure game knowledge. Like, for example, did you know there's a bronze axe in this chicken pen where you get the egg for Cook's assistant, so you don't need to go to Bob's axes at all. Zoe actually had the more efficient route in this banning over Roidy, but she made a lot of careless pathing errors. She pickpocketed the man more recklessly at the beginning for money, so Roidy does win this banning by 3 tiles. It's so close. It was so fun to watch, also super stressful, but beyond the pathing efficiencies and the bronze axe spawn, what tile saves could you do in this challenge to lower your overall score? I'm not going to recreate the entire banning on my own account because I don't have the time to do that this week, I'm sorry, but I'm still going to go into it. Basically, since you have a longer time limit here, you could try to get lucky with imps. Now, this is pretty unrealistic. It has caveats, but we're going to talk about it anyway, just for fun, just theoretically. There are multiple items that you can get from an imp in order to save yourself a ton of tiles. On average, I think it would take you 8 imps to get yourself one thing that saves you tiles, and that's also dangerous because imps teleport around, you risk them dragging you somewhere. I think it would take a long time to kill that many imps in Lumbee on a brand new tile account, but in theory, if you were able to get one of 3 drops, the egg from an imp saves you like 12 tiles, a tinderbox, you could avoid the general store entirely, so another roughly 20 tiles saved, and the pot of flour would save you an absurd amount, like over 40, I believe. Getting multiple of these items would be ridiculous. That compounds how many tiles you save because you could avoid entire sections of the map if you had absolute god tier RNG. Like literally stars align, like everything. I think you can get this challenge done close to 200 tiles, but that's so unrealistic it should basically be deemed impossible, especially on a fresh account. Maybe you could get one item from an imp. You'd have to be very, very lucky, but you have like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, right? So maybe it's possible, but let's just say with general efficiencies, I think you can get this banning done in just under 300 tiles. Roidy had 317, Zoe had 320, so there was room to save that, obviously. Zoe Pancakes goes home this week. I was really rooting for her in this. I wanted to see her take this challenge and knock Roidy out. It would have been such an upset, an unlucky banning realistically for Roidy that it gives Zoe a chance here. I really wanted to see that upset. It would have been really good. I still think Zoe played really well. Her path was better. It was just like, you know, not being patient enough. So it would have been so nice to get Roidy out and send another farmer home, but alas, we're down to the final 10. Short and sweet review this time. Hope you guys still enjoyed though. I'll see you for week 8 of the Gielinor games. Thanks for watching, guys.